Hey everyone. So, when you think about getting married, what comes to mind? Probably a license, a ceremony, the whole deal, right? But what if I told you there are these wild, totally legal situations where you don't need that crucial piece of paper at all? It's true. Let's get into it.
So that brings us to the big question, right off the bat. Can you actually get married without a license and have it be legit? I mean, it sounds like something you'd see in a movie. Is it for real?
And the answer, believe it or not, is yes. In some really extraordinary cases, the law totally makes a way. It's like the family code itself knows that life, well, it doesn't always stick to the script. So it's created these specific exceptions.
Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with the basics, then dive into emergency I-dos, check out cases involving culture and remote locations, tackle the 5-year partnership rule, and finally look at how it all gets made official.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1. Look, before we jump into all the crazy exceptions, we've got to establish the baseline. Normally, a marriage license is non-negotiable. It's an essential requirement. And honestly, knowing that is what makes these situations we're about to cover so exceptional.
Now for our first big category of exceptions. And trust me, this one is the most dramatic. We're talking about those intense life or death moments where the law basically says, okay, the paperwork can wait, the union is what matters right now.
The legal phrase you need to know here is in articulo mortis. It's Latin, and it means exactly what it sounds like, at the point of death. This is all covered in Article 27 of the Family Code. It basically says if someone is in immediate danger of dying, a marriage can happen right then and there, no license needed.
But here's where it gets really wild. Who can actually perform these marriages? Of course, you have your usual solemnizing officers, but Articles 31 and 32 expand that list in some pretty incredible ways. We're talking ship captains, airplane pilots. They can marry passengers in the middle of a trip, even during a stopover. And military commanders, they can marry people within a zone of military operation. It just shows how the law is designed to adapt to wherever that emergency might be.
Okay, so it's not all about these high-stakes life or death situations. The law also has this amazing flexibility for different life circumstances, things like where you live or deep-seated traditions. Let's take a look. So you've got two really different but equally important ideas here. First, there's Article 28, which deals with straight-up geography. I mean, if you live somewhere so remote that there's just no way to get to the civil registrar, the law says you're exempt. It's a really practical rule, right? Then you have Article 33, which is all about respecting tradition. It allows Muslims and other ethnic cultural communities to get married following their own rites and practices. No state license required. Okay, moving on to an exception that a lot of people might find pretty relatable. This one has nothing to do with emergencies or living in the middle of nowhere. It's all about the law looking at a long-term relationship and saying, yeah, we recognize that.
And the magic number for this one? It's 5. Yep, 5 years. This is all under Article 34. If a couple has been living together as husband and wife for at least 5 straight years, they can skip the license. Now, there are a few catches, of course. The big one is that during that entire 5-year period, they had to be legally able to marry each other. You know, no existing marriages, of legal age, all that. If they meet the criteria, they just have to state these facts in a sworn affidavit, the officer verifies it, and boom. It's basically the law formally recognizing a family unit that already exists.
Okay, so at this point, you're probably thinking, great, no license, but how does anyone know this marriage is official? How does it get recorded? Whether it happened on a plane or after 5 years of living together, there's got to be some paperwork, right? Well, there is. There's a whole process to make it official.
And here's how it works. This is covered in Articles 29 and 30. The person who performed the marriage, be it a pilot, a commander, whoever, has a really important job. They have to create a sworn affidavit. Think of it as the official story of why this marriage didn't need a license. Then they've got a deadline. Within 30 days, they have to send that affidavit and the marriage contract to the local civil registrar. That's what puts it on the books.
So let's just do a quick recap. The 4 big reasons you can skip the marriage license are: 1. You're at the point of death. 2. You live somewhere so remote you can't get to the registrar. 3. You're following specific cultural traditions. Or 4. You've been living together as a couple for 5+ years with no legal issues.
And I have to share this one last thing. It's a quote directly from Article 27, and it's pretty powerful. It says that a marriage performed at the point of death stays valid, even if the person who was sick ends up surviving. They can make a full recovery, and the marriage is still 100% legal.
The law doesn't go back on a promise made in a moment like that.
You know, when you step back and look at all this, it really makes you think. These aren't just some dusty legal loopholes. They're a reflection of a society's values, right? They show a legal system that, when it really counts, prioritizes human connection over bureaucracy. So it leaves you with a pretty big question. What does it say about us when our laws are designed to bend for love in the most extreme circumstances? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.